Oscar Wilde during his imprisonment, which actually isn't true. He wrote to him, he talked to many people and tried to communicate with him. After prison, they tried living together, but it was hopeless. They quarrelled dreadfully and parted forever.
It is a blow, quite awful and paralysing, but it had to come. I know it is better that I should never see him again. I don't want to. He fills me with horror.
But I think the most tragic thing about those last years was the 3.5 years that he spent wandering around Europe. He was never completely penniless, but he was quite poor.
My dear Robbie, the clothes are quite charming, suitable to my advanced age. The trousers are too tight around the waist. That is the result of my rarely having good dinners. Nothing fattens so much as a dinner at one. Would it bother you if I asked you to let me have my allowance for December now? A wretched innkeeper at Nogent threatens to sell Reggie's dressing case, my overcoat, and 2 suits if I don't pay him by Saturday.
My last meeting with Wilde was terrible. I was walking one morning along the streets of Paris when there lurched round the corner a tall, shabby man. "Madame Melba, you don't know who I am. I'm Oscar Wilde," he said, "and I'm going to do a terrible thing. I'm going to ask you for money." I took all I had from my purse, and he quickly took it, muttered a word of thanks, and was gone.
I mean, he was looking into a future bright with exactly what? His friends had shunned him. He had very little money. He tried to write, and it didn't seem to work. The 2 women he'd loved were gone. His mother had died while he was in prison, and Constance, who he never saw again, died after an operation on her spine.
It's really awful. I don't know what to do. If we had only met once and kissed each other. It's too late. How awful life is.
While Constance was still alive, there was still just a possibility that he might be able to see his children again. But with her death, the door was simply slammed in his face forever.
I wrote when I did not know life. Now that I know life, I have no more to write. The wallpaper and I are fighting a duel to the death. One of us has to go.
There's a sort of tragic inevitability about the whole story, which, in a sense, I suppose, appealed to him as a classicist. You know, it was the Greek fates. The fates rocked my cradle, he said. It was almost as if he knew that he was going to finish up as he did. But I wouldn't change a single thing. It's one of the great tragedies of modern history. It'd be sad to change it.
Exactly 100 years ago tonight, on a freezing St. Valentine's Day, the importance of being earnest opened at the St. James Theatre. 100 years later, we honor Wilde's genius by dedicating a panel in this new Poets' Corner Memorial window, and I welcome all who have come.
You came to me to learn the pleasure of life and the pleasure of art. Perhaps I am chosen to teach you something much more wonderful, the meaning of sorrow and its beauty. Your affectionate friend, Oscar Wilde.